Hi guys, in this screencast I want to review the difference between schwa and wedge because these are a couple of sounds that students seem to have trouble distinguishing from each other, which makes perfect sense because they are so similar to each other. They are both mid-central vowels, they're both unrounded, they're both lax, so what is the actual difference between schwa and wedge? And it all has to do with how fully you articulate those sounds. Schwa is that special sound. I call it blah schwa. It's that minimum articulation you can do and still have it big enough to be considered to be a vowel. It's that kind of grunting sound. So we get it at the beginning of a word like live, in the middle of elephant, the beginning of consider in Canada, which is the guide word I usually put on the charts for you. It's special because it's the one and only reduced vowel. We reduce the time and energy we put into it, and we hardly get any articulation. So that's blah schwa, as opposed to wedge, which is not a reduced vowel. That means it's a fully articulated vowel, or a full vowel, as we call it, like all the other vowels on the chart. And as a full vowel, it is more fully articulated than schwa. So schwa is the sound, and wedge is We put more energy into it. We open our mouths a little bit more. We get this sound. At the beginning of up, and fluffy, and pizza, and one, and mustard, and we get this sound in all of those words. So if you can't really hear the difference because they are so similar, then you just follow the basic pattern in terms of where they occur. Schwa, because it's the reduced vowel, surfaces in unstressed syllables. So here's the transcriptions of a couple of those, or a few of those words that I had earlier. Live. So the second syllable in alive is the stress syllable. So what do we do in that first syllable? We reduce down to schwa, alive. And elephant, we probably reduce to schwa in both of the following syllables after the first stress syllable there. Consider, we save up our time and energy for the second syllable in consider, and we kind of gobble up that first vowel and we reduce down to schwa. The only time we will ever get schwa in a stress syllable is if it's part of that sequence. We have lots of words that have in it, and quite a few, most of those words, the is probably not stressed, but occasionally we have in a stressed position in a word. So we have a word like worthy or mature, and we get in stress. So if you ever find yourself putting a stress on a schwa, you better check to see if there's an R after it. And if there's an R after it, that could be the correct stress. If there's no R after it, you've either put stress in the wrong spot, or you need to change your schwa into something else, and that other thing would probably be a wedge. So wedge, my favorite guy, I've talked about this in class, with a pointy top to it, just pointing in the direction of up. So I like to use the guide word of up for that one. So where do we find wedge? We find wedge in stressed syllables. So fluffy, mustard, in that first syllable of these two bisyllabic words. We also find wedge if the word only has one syllable, and that word is a content word, meaning it's a noun, a verb, an adjective, or a preposition. We will get a wedge there. So don't use schwa in those one syllable words, especially the content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and prepositions. And then also the other place we use wedge is words that end in A. So the pizza, the Tina, the Julia, the girls' names that end in A, plus a bunch of other words in English that end in A. That's where we would use a wedge at the end instead of a schwa at the end. So hopefully that kind of reviews it and helps you decide where to use schwa and wedge. Just a couple of last words just to show you. So both button and unlucky have wedges and schwas in them. And you can see how button, we have the wedge in the first syllable because it's the stress syllable, and then we reduce down to schwa in the last syllable. And in unlucky, we save up our energy for the stress in the middle, so we use a wedge in the middle syllable, and the first syllable is reduced down to schwa. So unlucky. So hopefully you can use that to help you with your transcriptions as we move forward. And just keep in mind that schwa is reduced and in unstressed syllables, and wedge is more fully articulated, and we find it in stressed syllables and then in words that end in A. Good luck.